You will agree with me that a quality transport system means both drivers and passengers will get out there on our street and return home safely. In our case, it's different because the road keeps taking the life of innocent Ghanaians. According to the WHO estimate, in every 100,000 people, 25 people lose their life in road accidents, crashes on our street. That's how they died. And in 2025 alone, close to 3,000 people lost their lives on our roads. And this is about the highest recorded in the past 35 years. The National Road Safety Authority recorded close to 10,000 crashes on our street. If this incident is not addressed, if these concerns are not looked at, a lot of Ghanaians may not die a natural death, nor you will not just sleep and wake up and die your normal death, as we all know should be the case, but will die through avoidable accidents on our road. To discuss this important issue, I had a discussion with Professor Samuel Antwi Darkwa, Assistant Professor of Mendel University in Czech Republic, and this is what he has to say. I have today with me Samuel Antwi Darkwa, Ph.D, Assistant Professor of the Mendel University, Brno. He is the former head of Department, International Development Study, Faculty of Regional Development and International Studies, former head of International Relations of the Mendel University in Brno, and former Pro-Vice Chancellor of Mendel University in charge of international relations. We are going to talk to him briefly on some few concerns that he wants to raise. So, Doc, thank you very much for honoring this interview.
You are welcome.
From your perspective, what's the biggest safety risk on Ghana's roads today? Is it infrastructure, drivers' behavior, or weak enforcement?
I think all the three. But in the first place, I'll start with the behavior of drivers or road users on our roads. It's so serious, because I have observed few things or many things on our roads. I have never seen anywhere in this world where you see a long vehicle that is supposed to be on the right lane, occupying the left lane. The left lane, we all know, especially in Europe here, is only when you want to overtake the car in front of you, that is when you come to the left lane. But this is a situation you see two long vehicles driving side by side, and they cannot overtake each other, causing more traffic. I know what, because human behavior, as soon as there is a small chance for other vehicles to overtake, they don't really even think about the oncoming traffic. They start, overtaking, and these are some of the causes of the accidents. I've seen sometimes 3 vehicles all moving at the same direction, and they're not giving due respect to the oncoming traffic or the vehicle, which is very, very dangerous. So overtaking unnecessary or driving in the fast lane where they are not supposed to be is one of the problems. So I wished that law, if it's there already, should be enforced, that all these heavy trucks must drive on the right lane. They only come to the left lane when they want to overtake, and to make sure that, they are really able to overtake. Again, in this country, like Czech Republic, I know, or in Europe, that there should be a distance of a minimum of 50 meters between 2 long vehicles, so that if a car is overtaken and there is an oncoming car, it can go in between these 2 long vehicles. But sometimes you see them close to each other, and if there is an oncoming traffic and somebody is overtaken, it's not possible for the person to dodge or to maneuver in any way, and that leads to head-on collision. which is very, very bad. So they have to make sure that all these long vehicles, they keep a distance of at least 50 meters in between them, and then to make sure that, they only come to the left lane if they want to overtake. Another thing I've seen is they should probably give it to a particular company, or whether it's the police or whoever, that all these long vehicles especially traveling just get spoiled on the middle of the road and the truck is left there. Sometimes you see people changing the tires. That means covering the other side of the road where vehicles are supposed to flow.
In the middle of the road.
Yeah.
It happens.
So there should be also a policy that all these vehicles, whether they should give it to a private company or whoever, to make sure that within the next 20 to 30 minutes, they are able to tow the truck or the car to a very safe place where they can do the repairs. Because it's not...
Doc, not to stop you. There are some of these drivers who drive the long truck. They are mechanics. They are very experienced with fixing car.
Right.
So if my car breaks down in the middle of the road and I think I can fix it quickly and then move the car, why should I kind of wait for the officers to come and tow the car and then take me through the long process when I know maybe I can just change something in the truck and then the truck will move?
Don't forget, you are not the only user of the road.
Okay.
You are not the only user. And most of the time you see that they are changing the tire. And they are out from their lane, covering the other lane. Because, in Ghana, most of the roads are just, they are not dual carriage as probably we do have other places. They are just traffic, how do I call it? It's just single lanes. And if you stand to change the tire or something, that means you are covering part of the other lane. And it's very dangerous. You changing the tire could be knocked down by a car.
But maybe I have a triangle.
How many cars in Ghana do have these triangles? This is a situation you brought my mind to that, because most of the time you are traveling and you see that there are leaves or branches of leaves on the way. If I do not know that probably a car has spoiled in front of me or is broken down in front of me, there are some people who do not know. If somebody comes from, or somebody is not from Ghana, and he comes and he sees that, these leaves are there, what does it mean? I have seen so many cases where these people are supposed to have at least a triangle to put at least 50 meters to where the broken car is, to warn oncoming traffic that there is some danger or something in front of them. And they will be very, very careful. But this is all of a sudden, you see one branch here, another branch there, that's all. And then you realize that the truck is just in front of you. And probably there is a car coming the opposite direction. How do you stop? How do you overtake? So you see that sometimes people run into these cars.
That's true.
Very, very serious.
And sometimes when you try to talk to them, they'll start insulting you. So what do we do
They don't
here?
even know who you are, and they will start insulting you.
Yeah,
so I think something must be done on that. These are very simple things where the police can check at every crossing. Police barrier. They have to make sure that these people have very, very simple things like fire extinguisher, the triangle, extra bulbs, and so many other things. Because sometimes you realize that there's no triangle. You realize that in the night the car has no reflectors, even no tail lights. And all these things are very, very dangerous. Or the car starts burning, and then the driver is standing there helpless.
Yeah.
You have to have at least a fire extinguisher, one or two, in the car to make sure that you do yourself or you help yourself. At least, as you're saying, they are mechanics. The same thing, they have to be fire officers.
Is it okay just for the trucks to have these backlights, or the reflectors must also be...
All of them, both the tail lights, both the reflectors, and sometimes even they have some small gadgets to let as soon as the light is thrown forward, it all reflects. Yeah, because sometimes you realize that a car or a truck has just passed a police barrier, for instance, right? And then you driving behind the car realize that the car has no tail lights. When the car brakes, there's no light. So you don't even know the car or the truck is braking, which is very, very dangerous. It's one of the dangerous aspects, because if they have those tail lights or something, as soon as press on the brake, it will light for you to see that it is braking. But this is a situation where you realize that there are no lights. If even they are there, the bulbs are dead, and it doesn't do anything. So if you are not very careful, you never realize that the truck or the car in front of you is stopping. And then you just run into that, and that can cause an accident. So I'm very much worried about unnecessary overtaking, that overspeeding. People are so much in a hurry. 5 minutes can save your life. Where are you rushing to? The best driver is the one who goes on the road and comes back home safely. Then you say you are a best driver. It's not a driver when before even he sits behind the steering wheel is drunk. I've never seen, I don't know if it exists, but I've never seen them using these breathalyzers, to breathalyze or to let the people, test for alcohol.
Yeah, and Doc, sometimes it's very scary when you are driving alongside with some of the trucks, because the extent of load, sometimes you see heavy timber, like the car is so full with the logs, with the wood, or sometimes even this force bay, and then it's all loaded.
It's very, very amazing when I see these small trucks with charcoal. It goes like that. You understand what I mean? Because, sometimes because of unnecessary overtaking, this truck, which is heavily loaded, has to probably move to the side a bit, and if it's not careful, it just overturns and causes an accident. You see some of these cars even burn as soon as it falls. It could be a petrol tanker, it could be a gas tanker or whatever, which are very dangerous, not only to the vehicle and its occupants, but to other users of the road. Recently, you realize something happened around in Sound or somewhere where these truck, or it was a gas truck or so, and then it exploded. And there were 3 cars or so behind, and then they all bent, I'm not sure, but you can check the story.
I will check.
And then these are some of the problems that exist, They have to make sure that they have the scale, I don't know whether it's way or payload, I think it's called payload or something, to make sure that they put these things. I went to Zambia, and everywhere they have it. So if we're a truck, if we're a truck driver, they will stop you and then tell you to go and weigh the axle load. And they will, if they realize that it's more than the axle load, they will remove some of them, give you instant fine, and sometimes even they will not allow you to move. They will arrest you, the driver.
So other African countries are
Yes. I've been to Zambia many times. So there should be that enforcement to make sure that because sometimes it's too much, and even they cannot climb a hill, a small hill. Sometimes I saw some on the Kwau from Nkoko to Obo. It was so heavily loaded that it couldn't climb, and it started like reversing. And that is very dangerous for other road users. If you are behind this truck, what are you going to do? Very, very serious.
And Doc, if you look at the Czech Republic, their tolerance on alcohol, do you see anything wrong with that system?
Yes, very, very well. Because I've heard some of the drivers say, if I don't take Oguglo or Akpeteshi, I cannot drive. It's amazing. Here in the Czech Republic is zero tolerance, zero. You can't take a drop and drive. Most of the time, like myself, if I know I'm coming to school on Monday, Sunday from the afternoon, I never take anything. Because sometimes in the early morning, you see them, the police, on the road, checking just alcohol. You know, only alcohol, Monday mornings, right? And they never play with drink driving, never. Sometimes you pay over 20,000, more than that, that is over $1,000 in fine. They take your license for 3 years, and you have to go and sit for driving test again. You know, because
the consequences are a lot.
So most of the people are afraid, you know, if they taste alcohol, they will never. They would rather call these drivers, you know, drink. They will take you home. They will come. 2 drivers will come. So assuming you went to the pub and you drank, a car will come with another driver, and they will take you home. Your car and the driver, and you have to pay for that. You know, but that is safer for you than to drink and you are caught on the road.
But do you think sometimes, I would say maybe it's not the driver's fault, because sometimes in the station there are traders selling the alcohol there, so maybe we should put the blame on the traders. If it's around me and I get tempted and I think something small.
I remember when I was in the UK, football fans used to drink a lot of beer before going to the stadium and sometimes after. What they did was, because I was working with the British Transport Police, what they did was they banned all these pubs, you know, from selling alcohol, especially on the days when there was football. You know, so I think in Ghana they can ban the sale of alcohol in all stations, lorry stations. Honestly speaking, if
in the lorry stations, no alcohol.
Why should you drink alcohol?
Somebody's income depends on that.
Yeah, but they can relocate them to somewhere else. Because let me tell you, papa and you know, I mean, this is to wait. You know, if you don't go to, I don't know how even to translate, to go and touch the palm, it will not make noise. Right? I mean, somehow.
It's perfectly right.
Yeah. So what I want to say is, because you say they will be tempted. So if it's not there, how will it tempt you?
Yeah.
You know, let's assume you are just going to Kufuridua from Accra. Do you need to drink? No. When you get to Kufuridua, there's about 1.5 hours. When you get to Kufuridua, you can go and drink whatever you want. If you are going to Kumasi, most of these cars start from Accra. I mean, the VIPs, state transport, and so on, OA, and most of them stop at where we call it at Lindador or what is the name? That Palace, is it Palace or I've forgotten the name. They stop there in Sutem. So you don't even have time to go and drink alcohol.
God. So, Doc, what about the attitude of the drivers? Sometimes they will have to pick a call from a family real quick during the journey.
Yeah, the attitude of the drivers are so serious, you know, because I realized even in trotro, you see trotro drivers picking phone calls, right? You realize the person within a short distance, you know, is taking more than 4 calls. Sometimes, we see for a trotro from Kwabenya to Pokuasi. This guy was talking on the phone. He was so angry. He was so angry that, you know, the other car, driver, but then I was thinking, that driver is not thinking about the passengers in the car. Only problem no solve. And when you are angry, you know what happens. You can, even lose your mind, and then the car can, kill somebody on the road or have an accident with another car or whatever. So they have to make sure that all drivers must have hands-free. I took a VIP from Accra. Normally I get off at Enyinam, at Kwabin Junction. And this guy, I told him in Accra that I'll get off at Enyinam. He said, yes, okay, no problem. When we go to Lindador. We do Lindador. I reminded him, so, Messi were Enyinam. And he said, yes. But this guy, all the way from Accra, he was on the phone. whether talking to the girlfriend or whatever, sometimes laughing, very happy. So when you get also too excited, you can be carried away. Exactly. But see the number of passengers in the car, in the bus. One person, was saying probably life. So when I told him at Bunsu, I thought just a 15 minutes drive from Bunsu to Enyinam. The driver will remember and stop. When we got there, because he was on the phone, he just passed, and I had to shout that I'll get off. And I told him, when I was getting off, I told him, please, be very careful with the telephone. Because honestly speaking, within 15 minutes, because he was carried away. Mm-hmm. Who knows what he was talking about? Obi ohokra na ni girlfriend ejano kra no diako. I mean, it's true. Sometimes they have different problems solving whilst they are driving.
That's true.
And that's not right.
And what about the weak signals that we have on our roads?
The signals, you mean the road signs or whatever?
Yeah, sometimes you see the edge of the road.
Yes. You see here, they have this plastic thing with reflectors. Right? Short one like that, with reflectors. So in the night, even when you are driving and there's fog, as soon as you throw the light on the reflector, then that shows it's the end of the road. You can't go beyond that. And that guides you, even if there are no road markers, it guides you to make sure that you get home safely. So why can't these are just plastic? Mm-hmm. Plastic poles. If you want, we can show them one to make sure that they know what.
I will show it on the side.
So you realize that there is white, red. On the other side is yellow or light yellow and white, so that it reflects, and then you can see that you are on your side, because sometimes the fog is so heavy, it's so thick that you can't even know where you are. But with that, you always guide you and make sure. Another thing I would like to talk on is road signs. Some of the people do not understand road signs, honestly speaking, and the road markings. It's not just
the drivers in Ghana?
The drivers in Ghana. It's not just there. It's not just drawings. They speak to you a lot. Yeah. If it's heavy line or thick line, you can't overtake. You have to stay in your lane.
In your lane.
Right? If it's broken, it depends how it's broken. If it's thick and broken, you cannot overtake. Probably the other one can just overtake. So these are some of the things they have to look at. Right? Road signs are very important. You go in, you realize that there's a road sign like a curve or something. Or sometimes you see some zigzag or something like that. Knowing that the road goes there and goes winding, and then you drive with care.
And what about those drivers who think that most of the accidents are rather caused by the passengers?
Why should passengers cause an accident?
Because maybe they cross the road where they don't have to cross the road.
Yeah, but you see, in this country, like Czech Republic, as you know, when you get to any town, no matter what town it is, the speed limit is 50. You don't go more than 50. If we were to obey the laws, there will not be those humps on the road, because you have to drive at 50 to make sure that when somebody crosses the road, you are able to stop. If you get your driving license from the UK, which I have one also, there's something called emergency stop. When you start and the instructor or the test officer will tell you, go, go, go. He has some white stick, put it on the dashboard. You have to stop. The car shouldn't stall. Your handbrake, you look here and there to make, because it says in London, children cross the road anyhow. The same thing in Ghana. In Ghana, you know, most of the towns or villages, even they don't have pedestrian crossing. So they cross anywhere, anyhow. So when you get to such place, you have to drive with care, at least 50. If you're going that 50, always in emergency, you can brake.
So even if there is no road sign telling me to drive slowly, I should, because you know some of these towns in Ghana don't have those limits.
I have seen some road signs 50. They are there. I have seen some of them. Mm-hmm. But who obeys that? You see red, round red, inside is 50. That means you have to be careful. Your speed limit there is 50. And somebody is driving 100, 120. Okay. You know, you can never stop when somebody crosses you.
And Doc, one interesting thing that I want to really talk about, I see that in the Czech Republic, sometimes there can be very crucial accidents, right? But you hear that the person survived, right? But in our case, like recently, an accident and then 16 people all dead. If there is an accident which happens, shouldn't we have at least something to kind of give us an expectation on the survival rate? But it looks like for us, it's difficult to survive.
You see, just a few minutes ago, you asked me about the type of cars.
Yes.
A car has no roadworthy and is driving on the road. Some of the cars, no timukura form. So what would they mention? I've sat in taxis in Accra. The asphalt in front there. So what happens is, such a car, no, a wood is sent to Mago. It's like a rug. So when it crashes, the impact is so huge and cannot take to say, you know, it tears apart. Mm-hmm. And that's why most of the people do not survive. Mm-hmm. If you realize very, very decent, durable cars, when they have an accident, you see that the impact, sometimes and because of the airbags and mm-hmm. those kind of things in the cars and others, you know, most of the people will survive, especially here. Some of the cars have gotten 8 airbags, the side, top, you know, and so on. But look at this. As I was describing to you, some of the cars, if you see the emissions, you can't even see the car. You only see the dim, you know, the smoke. Such a car, you realize that when even you are sitting in it, you can hear how it's shaking. So as soon as it crashes, no one survives. Again, they have modified most of these cars. Mm-hmm. They buy from Europe. Some of the cars are not even for passenger use. Recently, I know the minister for, no, not the minister, Amaliba. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's in charge of, I think, road safety or something. They have banned the use of Toyota Voxy. They say mm-hmm. Toyota Voxy is not supposed to be used for commercial purposes. They buy some of the vans from here and they go and put in their own chairs. And you see that between one chair and the other is so much. If you are very tall, your even your knees cannot get there. So when it crashes, you don't have any chance of surviving. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Because of greediness, because they have added some extra seats to that. They have modified. They can take away the old seats and put in new seats to get more people into it. All these things must be checked by the inspectors or whoever is in charge, the DVLA, before even they register those cars. You don't have to register a car if it's modified. The car is used here to collect goods, like these vans they deliver.
So you cannot modify it to fit passengers.
And somebody buys it and go and cut and put new windows there.
And put chairs.
And they are driving. And you can see, honestly speaking, in between the seats, so short that the moment the car has an accident, you definitely crash into the seat in front of you, and then it is catastrophic. Very, very catastrophic.
So Doc, if Voxy was not being used for its purpose in Ghana, so it has been banned, that means that all the 207s that we see on the street will have to be taken off.
Most of the cars, as I'm telling you, most of them were used in Europe or wherever they bought it from for charting goods. They carry packages, and whatever. And then we bring them to Ghana. We go and cut and put windows there, and then we put seats. When you go and speak about it, somebody will say, oh, he's taking my daily bread away from me. But life is more precious than that.
Yeah.
It's not only one person who dies. So sometimes a whole sprinter or something crashes and no one survives. So what we have to take so many things into. These are very simple things which we can do as a nation to correct them. We need the law enforcement agencies to help in this aspect, because I will feel very guilty if I've taken money from somebody and the car leaves me, and within a short distance the car goes to get an accident and all the people in it die. That means I didn't do my work. I don't deserve to be there. It's very sad. We have to take it very, very serious to make sure that we do the checks. We check the cars. Some drivers do not have driving license. They are saying that if you have your driving license, the police will take it away from you, and then they will never give it to you unless you give them something. Some of the drivers I have traveled with, when they are stopped, they will tell the police, I have a copy, or some of them, we don't have it. We must be serious as a nation. With this digitalization, we can digitalize all driving licenses. That here, now you don't need to carry your driving license with you. You don't need to carry your ID with you. We've got e-documents. The e-documents is on your phone. And the police, as soon as they stop my car, they know who is the owner, who is the driver, everything. They don't need even to talk to me. If I drive past and I'm on a terrible speed, they don't say anything. The fine will come. The fine will come, definitely. And in many places they put solar powered, right? That if you are entering into a village or a town, it tells you the speed, and it tells you lower your speed.
Yeah.
Some of them have gotten some cameras that threaten people. It will just flash red, just to threaten, to make sure that you do not drive at high speed in those areas.
Yeah, I think Ghana is on the journey of using this digitalized system.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you should meet the president now, what are two things that you tell him to radicalize?
I'll tell him to make sure that those who control the roads, I don't know whether it's the DVLA or Ghana Road Safety, they have to be up and doing. I've seen them checking GRA like passes. They also have to get those agencies involved to make sure that the cars are roadworthy in the first place. The cars are not modified. If you don't have money to do that, buy what is recommended. They have to make recommendations that you can't use Sprinter 207 or the 33-seater to make it like a 40-seater. They have to control some of these things, And I'll tell the president, Mr. President, please tell your people, the enforcement, must be done. And like Czech Republic, you get instant fine. Instant fine. Here, if you say you don't have money, they have credit card, you use your credit card to pay. And all payments must go to the Ministry of Finance account, not to any account. Here, all the fines they collect are some of the monies they use to repair the roads. They use to repair the roads.
Okay. All right. Doc, thank you very much for the deeper insights. We'll hope to talk to you again on another topic.
Right.
We're grateful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Everybody should be informed.